A. The seven heavenly men, considered in relation to the entity of whom the solar logos is a reflection, are as the seven centers in the physical body of a human being. This will be realized as the correspondence between the cosmic physical plane and the systemic physical plane is studied. B3 of these centers, therefore, concern the lower centers of the cosmic being. Have their analogies on the dense, liquid and gaseous planes. Are at present the object of the attention of cosmic Kundalini. C1 of these centers corresponds to the solar plexus, and is the synthesizer of the lower three, thus making a quaternary. D. The center which is analogous to that at the base of the spine, or the reservoir of Kundalini, has a permanence which is not seen in the other two lower centers. The heavenly man who embodies this principle, and is the source of generative heat to his brothers, must be sought for by the aid of the intuition. Concrete mind will not here avail. E. The three higher centers, or the heavenly men who correspond to the head, the heart and the throat, of the solar logos, have their etheric analogies on the three higher etheric levels of the cosmic physical plane, just as the heavenly man who embodies the logoic solar plexus finds his manifesting source on the fourth etheric. F. This heavenly man, with his etheric vortex or wheel of force on the fourth cosmic ether, is in this fourth round, a vital factor in planetary evolution. G. When the heavenly man, who is at present demonstrating through the Earth's scheme, has succeeded in vitalizing his middle center, or in directing the force of planetary Kundalini away from the lower centers to the solar plexus center, a new cycle will be reached, and much of the present distress will be ended. His work is as yet in an embryonic condition, and 2.5 more cycles must transpire before he has accomplished the necessary work. When that is done, the result in connection with the human units in incarnation will be threefold. Sex stimulation, as now understood, will be showing a tendency to manifest in creation, not so much on the physical plane, as on the astral and mental, demonstrating in the creations of art and beauty, and the objective work of the scientists. Crime, as now seen, based largely on the sex emotion, will be a thing of the past, and physical plane license, orgy and horror will be reduced 75%. The interplay between the three dense physical planets will be perfected, and man will pass at will from one to another. I would here point out the inadvisability of the method whereby the names of the globes in a chain, just as the names of a chain in a scheme, follow the planetary nomenclature. This has led to confusion. A clue tending towards the correct understanding lies hid in the words. Venus is the Earth's primary. 11,917. It is not permissible to say much about this mystery, that Venus is the Earth's alter ego, nor is it advisable, but certain ideas may be suggested which if brooded on may result in a wider grasp of the beauty of nature's synthesis, and of the wonderful correlation of all that is in process of evolution. Perhaps some idea may be gained if we remember that, in an occult sense, Venus is to the earth what the higher self is to man. The coming of the Lords of Flame to the earth was all under law, and not just an accidental and fortunate happening. It was a planetary matter which finds its correspondence in the connection between the mental unit and the monasic permanent atom. Again, as the Antaskana is built by individual man between these 2 points, so again in a planetary sense is a channel being built by collective man on this planet to its primary, Venus. In connection with these 2 planets, it must be remembered that Venus is a sacred planet and the Earth is not. This means that certain of the planets are to the Logos what the permanent atoms are to man. They embody principles. Certain planets afford only temporary homes to these principles. Others persist throughout the Mahamanvantara. Of these Venus is one. 3 of the sacred planets, it should be remembered, are the home of the 3 major rays, of the embodied forms of the 3 logoic aspects or principles. Other planets are embodiments of the four minor rays. We might consider from the standpoint of the present that Venus, Jupiter and Saturn might be considered as the vehicles of the three super principles at this time. Mercury, the Earth and Mars are closely allied to these three, but a hidden mystery lies here. The evolution of the inner round has a close connection with this problem. Perhaps some light may be thrown upon the obscurity of the matter by the realization that just as the Logos has, in the non-sacred planets, the correspondence to the permanent atoms in the human being, so the middle evolution between these two, God and man, is the heavenly man, whose body is made up of human and deva monads, and who has likewise his permanent atoms. Always the three higher principles can be distinguished in importance from the four lower. The key is hidden in the fact that between the number of a globe in a chain, and its corresponding chain lies a method of communication. The same is true likewise of the correspondence between a chain of globes, and a scheme of analogous number. The connection between Venus and the Earth lies hid in number, and it took a moment of mysterious alignment between a globe, its corresponding chain and the scheme of allied number to effect the momentous occurrence known as the coming of the Lords of Flame. It occurred in the third root race in the fourth round. Here we have an analogy between the quaternary and the triad, carrying the interpretation up to a heavenly man. The chain was the fourth chain and the globe, the fourth. The fourth chain in the Venus scheme, and the fourth globe, in that chain were closely involved in the transaction. The progress of development of the heavenly men, is by no means uniform. One point has not been emphasized hitherto, and that is, that the problem before each of them is dissimilar, and, therefore, it is not possible for man correctly to gauge the work done by them and their relative point of attainment. It has been said that as Venus is in the fifth round, the Venusian Lord is further progressed than his brothers. This is not altogether so. Just as in the development of humanity three main lines may be seen with four lesser lines merging into one of the three main lines, so in connection with the heavenly men, there are three main lines of which the Venusian is not one. The Lord of Venus holds place in the Logoic quaternary, as does the Lord of Earth. The main idea underlying the question we have been endeavoring to answer has to do with the relationship between the schemes, chains, rounds, and races, and it should be borne in mind that these manifestations bear the same relationship to a heavenly man, as incarnations do to a human being. This gives the opportunity here to bring out perhaps a little more clearly the place of cycles in the evolution of all these entities from a man up to a cosmic logos, via a heavenly man and a solar logos. 12,018 Just as it is pointed out in the secret doctrine that there are greater and lesser cycles in the evolution of a solar system, so it can be predicated equally of a heavenly man, of a human being, and of an atom. This brings us, therefore, to another statement. The cycles in the evolutionary process of all these entities may be divided mainly into three groups, though necessarily these groups can be extended into septenates and into an infinity of multiples of 7. In connection with the solar logos the cycles might be called 1. 100 years of Brahma. 2. A year of Brahma. 3. A day of Brahma. These periods have been computed by the Hindu students, and are the sum total of time, as we understand it, or the duration of a solar system. In connection with the heavenly man we have the corresponding cycles to those of the logos. 1. The period of a planetary scheme. 2. The period of a planetary chain. 3. The period of a planetary round. Within these three divisions, which are the differentiations of the three great cycles of incarnation of a planetary logos, are numerous lesser cycles or incarnations, but they all fall within one or other of the three main divisions. Such lesser cycles might be easily comprehended, if it were pointed out that they mark such periods as a. The period of manifestation on a globe. B. The period of a root race. C. The period of a sub-race. D. The period of a branch race. In order to apprehend even cursorily the identity of manifestation of a planetary logos in the root race, for instance, it must be remembered that the sum total of human and deva units upon a planet make the body vital of a planetary logos, whilst the sum total of lesser lives upon a planet, from the material bodies of men or devas down to the other kingdoms of nature, form his body corporeal, and are divisible into two types of such lives. A. Those on the evolutionary arc, such as in the animal kingdom. B. Those on the involutionary arc, such as the totality of all elemental material forms within his sphere of influence. All the involutionary lives, as earlier pointed out, form the vehicles for the spirit of the planet, or the planetary entity, who is the sum total of the elemental essences in process of involution. He holds a position, in relation to a heavenly man, analogous to that held by the different elementals that go to the make-up of man's three bodies, physical, astral and mental, and he is like all manifesting beings threefold in his nature, but involutionary. Therefore, man and devas, differentiating the devas from the lesser builders, form the soul of a heavenly man. Other lives form his body, and it is with body and soul that we are concerned in these two divisions of our thesis on fire. One group manifests the fire of matter, the other group the fire of mind, for the devas are the personification of the active universal mind, even though man is considered monasic in a different sense. Man bridges in essence. The devas bridge in matter. In connection with man the cycles are equally threefold. 1. The monadic cycle, which corresponds in man to the 100 years of Brahma, and to a planetary scheme. 2. The egoic cycle. 3. The personality cycle. In these thoughts on cycles we have opened up a vast range of thought, especially if we link the idea of egoic and personality cycles to the vaster periods in connection with the planetary logos. The idea is capable of vast expansion, and is governed by certain fundamental ideas that must be carefully considered and contemplated. The cycles in the man's personality manifestation demonstrate in groups of 4s and 7s, and follow the usual evolutionary sequence, as a. Differentiation, the involutionary process, or the one becoming the many, the homogeneous becoming the heterogeneous. B. Balance, or the process of karmic adjustment. C. Synthesis, or spiritualization, the many again becoming the one. D. Obscuration, or liberation, the end of the evolutionary process, or the freeing of spirit from the limitations of matter. By this we must understand that all incarnations on the physical plane are not of equal importance, but some are of more moment than others. Some, from the point of view of the ego, are practically negligible, others count. Some are to the evolving human spirit of importance analogous to the incarnation of a planetary logos in a globe, or through a root race, whilst others are as relatively unimportant to him as the manifestation of a branch race is to a heavenly man. As yet, owing to the small point of development of the